Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Varyashtu Parashata Shri Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Ananta Shri Vibhushita Paramahansa Kulabaranya Sarvashastra Siddhanta Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Shri Guru Gaura Sundar Giridhari Ju ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Guru Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Vishnupad Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswata Charja Binda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Saparsa Shriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Dham ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Brinda Devi Tulasi Devi ki Jai. Kokar Tal ki Jai. Ananta Kuti Vaishnav Brinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Brinda ki Jai. Shri Govinda Dham ki Jai. All the devotees of Australia ki Jai. And Srila Gurudev's historic visit to the Red Cross Hall ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All right, well, we're very happy to be here today. This is my first time visiting the Red Cross Hall of Murwillumbah, or Australia. And as you all know, this is this historic place where Gurudev's first public program took place. So as he said that day, and as he said on numerous other occasions, especially in his early years visiting the West, that he has come through the tunnel that was blasted in the mountain of Western ego by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And he is coming, and immediately with open arms, so many are welcoming him with friendship and affection. So this place has historical significance not only for the community here, but for all the devotees all over the world, as this was where Srila Gurudev began his international traveling, and in particular where he was first able to meet the fortunate souls, or the sincere seekers, or the auspicious faces, or the various ways he described the persons who would come to receive connection with, through his divine grace, with Param Guru Maharaj Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it was the desire of both Param Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada that Gurudev would travel the world, and that the movement that they had started and the pure conception of devotion re-established by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that the world would get that through Gurudev, through Srila Govinda Maharaj. So there it is given in his pranam mantra, Bande Vishwa Guruncha Divya Bhagavat Premno Hi Bija Pradam. We bow down to this Vishwa Guru, or this person who is, generally, classically speaking, Jagat Guru or Vishwa Guru means one who is fit or capable of teaching the world. There, Jagat sometimes is used as a plural for all. Like in Portuguese or Spanish, they say todo mundo. The word for world and the plural word for all is the same word. So in Sanskrit, that also has sometimes usage. So the word world can mean everyone. He's qualified to teach everyone. But we can say now, with the another meaning has come of Jagat Guru as the one who literally has gone physically throughout the world and performed that work and delighted people all over the world with divine wisdom. So as we sing in Srila Gurudev's Arati, Ulasita Vishwavasi Lave Premadan anande nachiya gahe tava gunagan. Delighted, the people, the residents of the world, means the people all over the world, they are receiving the wealth of Krishna Prem, and they are dancing and singing his glories upon doing so. So, may this gathering be some further example of that verse. So it was the desire of A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada that Gurudev would come around the world. Right? He wanted to take him in 1975 and other times with him all around to see all the centers that had started, to see all the auspicious projects that were underway, and to report that to Guru Maharaj. Because his faith was that this pure current of the Rupanuga Sampradaya was flowing through Guru Maharaj, and he wanted that current would flow on. And by satisfying Guru Maharaj, by having the support and affection and blessings of Guru Maharaj, as no doubt, as well as representing the conception of Guru Maharaj, he was so grandly successful in doing so. So he wanted Gurudev to come because he, like so many others, knew that if he wanted to satisfy Guru Maharaj, the best way was through Govinda Maharaj. Many may try this way or that way, but whatever you present that's coming through Gurudev, that Guru Maharaj will accept. And actually, that applied not only to his disciples, but even to his godbrothers, right? As Gurudev himself told in a serious way, in a what is called nirapekha, like some disinterested or impartial way, he told frankly, Guru Maharaj had one line, means the line of service through me. All service went to Guru Maharaj through me. Whenever any information came about someone had did something, then Guru Maharaj would say, oh, well done, Govinda Maharaj. All credit, someone else would do something and all credit would go to Gurudev. Someone else would do something and all credit goes to Gurudev. Guru Maharaj is giving only credit to Gurudev for everything that's being done. And Gurudev said, sometimes I was happy about that, but sometimes I was also very unhappy in that situation. Because Gurudev wanted many to get credit, many to get honor, many to get glory, many to get a chance. But Guru Maharaj was so strong. I will accept through Govinda Maharaj. His principle he was very firm in that. And that has to do both with the spirit of cultivation of pure devotion that he taught and that he stood for, and has to do with the extraordinary, wonderful personality of our Gurudev and his capacity for that. Both are expressions of great beauty. So, many of Guru Maharaj's godbrothers, including Keshav Maharaj, including Tirtha Maharaj and others, they knew that if you want to get to Guru Maharaj, you must go through Govinda Maharaj. And if some appeal comes through Gurudev, then Guru Maharaj will accept. Guru Maharaj will be satisfied. And not also from great devotees like that, as well as to other devotees who came. Like there's that story of one devotee from Britain named Kulangana, who wanted so much to offer something to Guru Maharaj. But he was not habituated to other sorts of cooking and only would strictly accept food cooked by certain persons. But when she expressed her desire, he declined. But then when she appealed to Gurudev, can you explain how I feel to Guru Maharaj? And when Gurudev came and said, please, can you accept this? She's cooked it for you. She so much wants you to accept. Then still Guru Maharaj is hesitating. No, this is not my food. This is not my habit. And Gurudev said, okay, you can look. Okay, now he's looking. Now you're looking. Now you can touch. And then now you can take something. And he but it's just like stuck his finger in the pizza. Not like ate the pizza, but put his finger in the pizza and okay. Like this. And Guru Maharaj was won over by the affectionate appeal of Gurudev. because Gurudev felt so much for the devotees. He saw devotees coming from so far with so much eagerness and undergoing so much, for them, extreme austerity due to the living conditions and circumstances of the temple, especially at that time. And he's feeling, they must get the mercy of Guru Maharaj. They must get the attention of Guru Maharaj. So he would try very much to see that Guru Maharaj they would somehow go home satisfied at heart that they got some attention, some grace from Guru Maharaj. So sometimes when Guru Maharaj was very ill, then he would say, oh no, I'm not able to receive everyone now. And he'd say, okay, you don't have to talk, just sit. Just come out for 1 minute, Because he knew as soon as Guru Maharaj comes out, then some conversation is going to start, and as soon as Guru Maharaj gets his flow, then he forgets everything, and many times, just 5 minutes, 2 minutes, come and sit, And you can, I was never there, but I saw some videos and heard from many devotees. I remember seeing one in particular. Some devotees are very eager to meet Guru Maharaj, but Guru Maharaj is very unwell. And then finally Gurudev, just come for a few minutes, And Guru Maharaj sits and devotees are bowing down, and then Gurudev is thinking that's all that is possible now, And then he's trying to console the devotees, and he's quoting that line of Narottam Thakur, Darshane Pavitra Koro Etomar, this way that the Vaishnava is glorified. That the Ganga is famous for being purifying, for being auspicious. But to receive that auspicious effect of the Ganga, you have to come in touch with the Ganga. Gangara parasha hoile paschate pavan. The Ganga is purifying after you have come in touch with the Ganga. But darshane pavitra koro etomargun. But you are purifying just by being seen. You can purify just by your form entering their field of vision. So, more glorification, Like now, ordinary phones, you have to plug them in to charge, but the best phones, wireless charging, So something like that. Certain things you have to touch to be purified or be charged, but the Vaishnava, wireless, direct effect. So Gurudev is consoling devotees like that, like Guru Maharaj is just sitting and he's telling them, like, you're getting his darshan. This is so powerful. This is so purifying. Don't have any question, This is itself a great thing, But then, little, then who are they? Where are they from? Then 1 hour Harikata comes, Just like that, This compassionate spirit of Gurudev and Guru. Anyway, so these are examples. How Guru Maharaj, who is representing the exclusive Rupanuga line, he accepted service through Govinda Maharaj, his one and only line. But in connection with that, he showed a spirit of great liberality, great satisfaction. Those who came in the proper channel, as Gurudev put it, they really got the proper connection. And not only that, but knowing that mood of Guru Maharaj, Gurudev was very confident and very broad in his dispensation of that. And so he traveled the world extensively and he extended mercy in a very liberal way to so many. Right? And at times he remarked, I know why. I know the power of this. You don't know, but I know. I know how powerful is the affection of my Guru Maharaj. That what is the will of my Guru Maharaj, it must come to pass. So you are getting connection with that, therefore there is no possible doubt or question about your good fortune. You may feel it now, you may feel it later, it may be clear to you now, it may be clear to you later. Don't worry. I know, because I know my Guru Maharaj. So in that spirit, with simultaneously great humility, charm, and extreme conviction, he came to share this grace with the world. So today I was going through the talk that Srila Gurudev gave here that time, 1992, June 6th. Right? Last night I was looking the date, Mandara Priya was showing me the date of the original, today I went and saw what did Gurudev say here that day. And it is a very beautiful talk, and really it is a very wonderful sample of his public introduction to Krishna consciousness. There are so many angles by which you can come to the center. Right? Actually, there are 360. You can come from any direction, actually, to get to the original source. But nevertheless, there's maybe some general main track, general main angle. So when Gurudev is here, he's speaking to the public for the first time, then how is he giving a broad and general extension from that center out to the people? Then he's speaking that day. And really it is a very nice expression or an extension of the fundamental principles of Krishna consciousness. So he spoke in a way that he spoke in many occasions, quoting verses like Shrinvantu Vishve Amrita Saputra. You are all sons of nectar. You are all children of the immortal world. And only for want of that, you are suffering and experiencing dissatisfaction at present. But then, even then, he made a nice point, which other times he made many other times, but saying, I am not here to preach. I am not here to preach to you this religion or that religion or my religion or against your religion or this sort of thing. I am here only to give remembrance. What I am talking about, it is your wealth, actually. It is the natural property, the natural capacity of your own soul, of your own true self. I am only reminding you of that. I am only here to help you realize what is already there. It is not that I am coming to assert one thing and neglect another thing, but I am coming to give you that remembrance. And on other occasions we heard, Gurudev specifically say, I don't like the word preach. I don't like the word preaching, or this sort of, it can carry some connotations of like something contrary to the spirit of truth-seeking, but rather some propagation of some fixed, closed set of ideas that people are being encouraged to accept and follow without some appeal to the inner conscience or some affirmation of the inner heart. And oftentimes can be associated with an attempt at persuasion based on intimidation, or based on guilt, or based on force, or based on appeal to convention, or various other things like that. Whereas, what we felt so much from Gurudev was, he wasn't so much coming to tell you what this was, he just is what he's talking about. And just you're around him and it's just pouring out, it's just coming out all over everything. And talking about it, that's one way that it comes. Not the only way, not even necessarily the best way, but one channel by which it is also expressed. And that it is something so nourishing, so tasteful to one of pure mind and pure heart, that it doesn't need to be steeped in extreme rhetoric or couched with always a necessity for persuading someone to appreciate it. Rather, just to show it what it is, those who are seeking, those who have capacity to appreciate, they will immediately come and recognize its value. Right? So that was, we can say, one very nice quality, very beautiful quality of Srila Gurudev. What in Bangla is called pranjal bhasha. Means a way of speaking that is not exactly matter of fact, but something like just presenting something with a concise number of words to convey as clearly as possible what it is. And just knowing how beautiful something is, knowing how valuable something is, you don't need to describe it in such a way as to force someone or convince someone to accept it. Just as soon as, if you really know the value of something, as soon as it's out there, you know that the person is going to get it already. So you just need to present it in as clear a manner as possible, and the attractive power of it, the captivation that it will have over others, that'll be automatic. I don't need to add that element in the form of my discourse. That will come by virtue of the substance itself. That sort of deep taste, that sort of deep, fine appreciation, that we're delighted to observe in His divine grace. So anyway, that day he's speaking about these things, like Shunvantu Vishve Amrita Saputra. You are all sons of nectar, and you've all come here to hear something about Krishna consciousness, about Krishna. And just right off the top, he's saying, who is Krishna? Krishna is the Supreme Godhead. And the purpose of life is to go back to home, back to Godhead. No roundabout, just very frank, this is it, straight on. But very charming. And how to do so? By chanting the holy name. How not to do so? By any other means. Hare Namo, Hare Namo, Hare Namo, Kalo Nasteva 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 Gotiranyata. But somehow when you hear it from Gurudev, you're just like, oh yes. He can say something that's so straight, so exclusive, but yet it feels so acceptable, so palatable, so to speak. So he spoke about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, about Harinam Sankirtan being the Yuga Dharma of the present age, and our primary means by which we may go back to home, back to God, re-establish our eternal relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, wherein we will find the very thing that every one of us has for so long been searching for: love, beauty, charm, sweetness, joy, ecstasy, however you wish to describe it. This classic appeal to the heart as a means by which to present the Krishna conception. And then there was also, that after his initial introduction, many questions. That was like a long discussion. And some first questions, like general questions, nice questions. Maybe some of you were there. I don't know who asked the questions. But first question was, what about prayer? How to pray? This was the first question. And he gave, not so long answers, 2 minutes, 5 minute answers, and saying that, then he's saying, prayer to whom? And then the person, to Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Krishna. How do we pray? What is prayer? How do we pray? And then Gurudev said, we will pray to Nityananda Prabhu for devotion, and only devotion. This is the perfect prayer. We pray for devotion. And then, on the other point he made, he said, but we may also pray for help in order to cultivate devotion. So when we are facing a difficulty, or when we are uncertain in our life, then we may pray, please show me what I need to see. I'm in this situation. What will be good? What will be bad? How shall I proceed? Please show me. What is essential in order to cultivate devotion? That also we may pray for. But not that we will think, oh, I've realized what the thing is that I need, so please give me that. Rather, whatever it is that I need that you know, please let that come to me. Let that be extended to me. So full trust, full reliance upon the higher subjective vision of things, not our relative or material vision of things. But my only objective, to serve to have devotion. And howsoever that is to be done, whatever I need to understand so as to facilitate that, I pray for that. I let that come. Like this. And then other question was about why are there so many wars in the world? And it's even wars about religion. Why are these going on? And then Gurudev said, there are not any wars about religion actually. There are only wars about people fighting over things of the world. It is like a very classic Gurudev type answer, where you're thinking, but there are so many wars about religion. But very politely what he's saying is that even those things that we think are wars over religion, they're not actually over religion. They're over material things in the name of religion. Like very gently saying, there aren't actually any wars over religion. Means as soon as you're going to do that, it's not actually the religion that you're fighting about. It's about land or money or power or these other things. So he explained that Mahaprabhu's teachings are humility, tolerance, and giving respect to others. And that the most fundamental principle of Dharma as a whole is respect for others, tolerance for others, humility. These are the most fundamental principles. So if we think that we can go forward in the assertion of some religious practice, acting in a way that is completely contrary to its fundamental roots, then we are mistaken. We're off. And thus, when persons are acting that way, it is not actually for the sake of religion that they are acting. It is under the dictates of desire or pursuit of these other things that this goes on. And then he remarked, amongst religion's conceptions, I observed approximately 60% similarity between all various religious ideas. But what is that similarity mainly? That similarity is humility, that similarity is respect for others, and it is only out of a lack of recognition for even the fundamental similarities that these things go on. So, anyway, just summarizing a few points, a few questions that came and some general encouragement that he gave to the sincere seekers. And after that, then so much conversation took place, and we also heard from devotees about the kirtan that day, and some grand feelings, grand joy that was present at that time. And it was also, I believe, during that time he visited here in 92, that he said, now the pure name of Krishna is coming out of India. The pure conception of devotion is coming out of India. And later, from the West, it will be brought back. He remarked like that. And, this marked the beginning of his time spending somewhat in the association of Western devotees. And we see that the Western devotees, they won his heart. Right? Gurudev, prior to coming here, prior to his first world tour, he went out for one tour in Bengal, around some villages, some area, And after he went to the West, never another tour in Bengal, whole time. Right? And, for all of you who went to India, if you came to Gaur Purnima, or you came to Basa Puja, or you came and you went to the Nat Mandir, the main program with Gurudev for the festival, then what language was spoken? English. Right? So really Gurudev found that there was such a fertile response, such a fertile field in the Western world for the teachings of Guru Maharaj, for the teachings of Mahaprabhu, then really he gave his attention there. Where the getting was good, so to speak, not in a negative sense, but where there was really positive response, where it was really being cultivated consciously and eagerly, he gave his energy there. So, just today I was listening to another talk of him, and he was describing the first time he visited Mexico, I believe, first or second time, and just giving an example and saying that they were in the airport and they were coming to some area where only ticketed passengers can cross some security persons who are checking who has boarding passes or tickets or whatever, and only persons who are ticketed can enter this zone of the airport. And so everyone is saying goodbye, and there are some, heartfelt exchanges going on. And then Gurudev and those who were traveling with him crossed into the ticketed area. But there was one teenage girl who, maybe she was late or I don't know, but she didn't feel like she was able to sufficiently say goodbye to Gurudev. So she came up to the security and said, you have to let me through, I must go and meet him, And they could see he was a celebrity or a VIP or something like that. And somehow the security guards allowed, they were sympathetic, and then she, like, in front of everyone, just ran up and gave Gurudev a big hug. And Gurudev was laughing. He said, "This is the first time any woman has not been shy, she has, broken that rule, so to speak, But he said, it was, it was such a, obviously such a gesture of affection, such a heartfelt reaction to this moment of saying goodbye, Then Gurudev also patted, he returned the embrace, and everyone was so much charmed in the gathering, and Gurudev himself, he was so delighted. Really, he was delighted by that, and especially that the security guards allowed it. It's like the security guards can feel it. Like this young girl, she wants to say goodbye to her guru, and they are allowing. And these type of things, that really demonstrate that where the intensity of affection between the devotees is even captivating the hearts of general people. That is, we can say, the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Even, extreme example, we hear about Vrindavan Das Thakur's observation that after Mahaprabhu took sannyas, that next day, the devotees, they were crying so sadly that Mahaprabhu had left. So sadly. And it's said that so many persons who, when Mahaprabhu has lived in Navadvip for so many years, so many days kirtan, so many days programs, so much harikatha, kirtan, everything going on. So many persons who never came and never participated, never showed respect for that. Suddenly, when they heard the devotees crying, when they heard the devotees feeling separation from Mahaprabhu, then they came and said, "What happened? Who was he actually? What was that about?" That captivated them. Not necessarily the joy or the excitement, but the sadness of the devotees, the longing that the devotees felt. That won their hearts. And so Vrindavan Das Thakur says, this is one cause of Mahaprabhu's sannyas, that there is nothing more purifying to the heart, nothing more captivating to the heart than the feelings that the devotees have in separation from their Lord. If general people, other-minded people, if they can feel a little bit of that, it cancels everything. So anyhow, it's some colorful moment. But anyhow, Gurudev was illustrating that. There are other, especially in Mexico, they're very affectionate. I heard one time when he was there, the devotees, they had some honorary ceremony for him, and people were presenting a key to this. I don't know if it was the same time that he was given the key to the city, and some other. I don't know if it was the same ceremony or not. But one of the ceremonies where some dignitaries come up and they all hand something and there's some exchange, then one of the dignitaries, I don't know if she was an official or something like that, then she's also coming and giving the things. And it's customary in Latin culture that when you greet someone, then you do this kind of little kiss thing on both sides. So she just comes right up and then kisses Gurudev, and she was wearing lipstick, so he had a big mark on his cheek, you know. And Gurudev is like, you know, not like, you know, he's just laughing. He's just like completely letting that flow, you know. He was really won over, you know, because really you could say like Brahmin, sadhu from India, you know, like it might be possible to be very hard on that sort of thing, you know. But Gurudev was so far into the heart culture and the liberal distribution of mercy, it was just like beautiful, you know. There was an ornament actually on top of that layer of things. So, the affection of the devotees very much captivated him and brought about so many wonderful pastimes and such a wonderful dispensation of Mahaprabhu's mercy and spread of Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan. And not only those general things, but that practice, that conception in this exclusive line of devotion given by Guru Maharaj, and in this very sweet and personal and sincere way that was embodied in Srila Gurudev. All right, well, I was also hoping while we're here, I know many of you were maybe here that time when Gurudev visited this place or at other times, so I'd love to also hear from the devotees and receive some of their wealth about Gurudev's times, whether it's specifically at this hall or in general. So if I can, I'd like to turn it over and invite other devotees to also share. Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Prabhu, would you like to say something?
I was just thinking, Maharaj, you're talking about when Srila Gurudev was at the airport.
Okay.
In countries. He, when he arrived in New Zealand, he was led by maybe a party of 30 Maoris with their sort of war dresses on. And the ladies in the back doing this sort of noise that's very, it sort of sent sort of shivers up there. It was quite, you know, split sweet, but it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. Out of the party, when Srila Gurudev sort of, they were in a little sort of big alcove. Gurudev walks past and then he sort of, they stop him and he's standing in the middle of the alcove and he's, I don't know if you've seen a Maori haka.
A what?
A haka. It's like a war dance.
Okay, no, I definitely haven't.
When the Maoris are welcoming somebody, one of the warriors comes out with a spear and he's doing this sort of spinning the spear and his tongue sticking out and his eyes are wide open and he's walking up to Gurudev and sort of, it's almost like a challenge. And then he puts the spear on the ground and Srila Gurudev is picking it up. And it was all very new, of course. This is at the Auckland airport. And then after the ceremony, they come and give Gurudev a Maori kiss, which is they rub noses, which is pretty interesting because the ladies were doing, you know, the same thing. Yeah, it was, and of course Paramahamsa Maharaj was there at the time and he spoke about that for years after that. Yeah.
Anything else about that first time when Gurudev, because he was at your house, right? The time that he was here.
Yes. Yeah. There's others that were here as well.
Very wonderful, Maharaj. It was every morning we go on morning walks with Gurudev just along the road, and everybody that saw him, even riding past, was very friendly and waving. He was so touched by the affection and just the local people. And virtually the whole history of, his life, on the morning walks, which was so sweet. We're just floating. I have a picture of all the devotees there on the road. It's like they're just floating, above the ground.
Everyone's got a smile.
He used to say it was the Vrindavan of his childhood or dreams. Yeah.
Like when he's read the stories from Bhagavatam, you picture Vrindavan like this, like Australia. When he got to Vrindavan the first time, where is that beautiful waterfalls falling off the mountain? And then when he got here, it was just totally charmed by the environment. And he also charmed the environment. It was a mutual exchange. Almost every moment was spent in wonder virtually with the devotees everywhere he went. And just the simple things, which were really sweet. But we had the programs here. Everybody was fully just enraptured. The variety. It was such an extraordinary event. It was like the whole feeling of the whole atmosphere, the environment had changed completely as soon as he touched down. And I'm sure it's a reality. When his feet touched this continent, there was a transformation in some way because it affected everyone. People coming from everywhere, devotees coming long distance to see him, and so much was happening there at that time. So many extraordinary meetings. But Krishna Ballabha, he was on that morning walk. You can tell many wonderful stories.
Yeah. Well, firstly, before when we first came and discovered Srila Guru Maharaj, it's like 84, 85. Australia's a long way away from everything, And Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Srila Maharaj was discovered by the American devotees, and those devotees that were somewhat disillusioned with the situation in ISKCON at the time. And they came to Srila Guru Maharaj for some clarity, some consolation, and clarity about the relationships of Guru, because there were Srila Swami Maharaj had left, there were these new acharyas, there was some disturbance. And they noted that Srila Swami Maharaj told, if you have any problem, go and see my godbrother, Srila Guru Maharaj. So Srila Guru Maharaj was preaching to the devotees, and eventually some devotees joined and became members of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati, like Saga Maharaj and Goswami Maharaj and others. And so Srila Guru Maharaj was known then as referred to himself as a consulting physician to the devotees. And he referred to Sri Chaitanya Saraswati as the Red Cross of spiritual life. So we were very enthusiastic. We discovered Srila Guru Maharaj. We were very enthusiastic at that time, when we were very disappointed to begin with some disturbance in the line that we were coming in. Then we discovered Srila Guru Maharaj, and we were very ecstatic and very enthusiastic.
New life.
New life, yes. And actually, so, when I discovered personally myself Srila Guru Maharaj, at that time I was practicing herbal medicine. I had a clinic here in Murwillumbah. I was very absorbed in my herbal practice, and I wrote him a letter. And I used all kind of medical terminology, saying that, yes, you are the consulting physician to the devotees. Your words are like a tonic. They're revitalizing, renewing our vital force, like that. It's not just a palliative, but it's actually the elixir of life. So many things. and it was very nice. And I received a letter back from him, and he was very happy. And I asked him for initiation, and he said, yes, we'll accept you. And it was very, very nice. And then we wanted to preach on his behalf. And before that, we were meeting in devotees' homes. We were meeting many times at Parananda's house, different devotees' homes. There was nothing official. There was no committees or no, anything like that. No property, no established centre. And devotees just spontaneously would provide different services, And but eventually we wanted to find a place where we could congregate, on a regular basis. And we looked around, looking for different places. And then one day I saw a sign, Hall for Hire, it was in a chemist shop, Hall for Hire, Red Cross Hall. And I thought, Red Cross, because Guru Maharaj said, that his mission was the Red Cross of spiritual life. So we started the programs here. And those programs went on for some time. And then Srila Gurudev, when he came to Australia, his first preaching engagement was in the Western world, was here in this hall. And, so many wonderful things that, took place. And subsequent years, Srila Gurudev, revealed his amazing, mystical, devotional and completely transcendental nature to us. I remember he said when he was coming in the plane, I don't think he'd even been in a plane before. It's the first time he went in an aeroplane. And he came and he said that he looked out to the window going in the plane and the demigods were flying with him there. Yeah.
They were in good company.
Yeah, so many wonderful things.
And also we virtually chanted at Parananda's house. We were chanting in a way that was where all of us together were starting to just call for Govinda Maharaj. We were praying and calling at the same time that he would come like that, and like every time any devotee went there, we'd be extending invitations, begging him, please come and visit.
Saga Maharaj came and visited. He was travelling around looking, how can he wanted to bring Srila Gurudev to the West. And he was travelling around, going different places around the world, finding how he could bring Srila Gurudev to the West. And when he came here to Australia, he was very captivated by the kirtan, the very enthusiastic kirtan and the serving mood of all the devotees, the unified consciousness of the devotees. And that captured him. And then also he met through Parananda Prabhu and Mahanananda Prabhu, some sponsorship and facility. And he felt that, yes, this is the way I can bring Srila Gurudev to the West, through Australia. And actually,
Maharaj came to our house to start with, and he says, I've been meditating on this for a year, just trying to think how we can get him to come out to the world. I want to share him with the whole world, like this, And we were feeling exactly the same way, just thinking, how can we do it?
Prior to that, Bhakti, Srila arrived at Navadip in 1990, and she was on her way, she just called in from Europe, and she was on her way back to Australia, and she stayed at Navadip. Well, she was staying for a few days, but because of Srila Gurudev, she decided that she wanted to stay there for a long time, so she did. And of course, speaking to Srila Gurudev all the time, it was a very quiet time there in 1990. And eventually she came back to Australia for a couple of weeks. It was only a very short time. And when she went back to India, she started talking about the Australian devotees, etc. And I think that's somehow stirred the enthusiasm of Srila Gurudev to come to Australia. of course, like Krishna Prabhu just said, that when he sent Sagar Maharaj to Australia, and then when he saw Mohan, he stayed there for a couple of weeks at Mohan's house as well as Krishna, at Krishna's place. But when he saw Mohan, he wrote back to Srila Gurudev and said, I have the man to take you around the world. And of course, then after Sagar Maharaj went back, Mohan also went back some time later, and then he made the arrangements for the world tour. Yeah. I think, there's some divine thing going on there, because it was the right people were assembled at the right time to perform the job.
There's also Maharaj, a little earlier, I used to do some filming also, some videoing, and I would take videos of what was happening in Australia over to Navadvip. In those days, the rooms were so barren and bare, it was just raw cement. But we got to show the videos, and Maharaj would come in just very nonchalant and very unassuming, virtually at that time. We had just arrived and we didn't really know who he was, but he was so friendly that he'd just come in and want to watch the videos with all the boys, We'd all be laid back, and then we didn't even have a seat to offer him. But he'd be laid back just watching these videos. We had lots of...
And I remember you were embarrassed.
It was embarrassing.
You were embarrassed because there were some shots of the Gold Coast of girls in bikinis, and the Hare Krishna keeps fast forwarding, and Maharaj said, no problem. There was plays of all the children doing plays of Krishna Lila and in the forests and all this sort of thing, and he was really quite taken by it, because he actually loved photography also. He was really attracted to photography. it was I think, he was also in his mind what it's like over there. But many wonderful things before we came. But more wonderful once he came.
Devananda, you were also here. Can you say something?
Well, I remember actually when I came in the room, I sat right here. And it was completely crowded.
Yeah.
Completely crowded. And I remember walking in the door, and Adi Krishna Prabhu was by the door, and he handed me a picture, a little cardboard folder with a picture of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and a picture of Srila Gurudev. I still have that somewhere. At that time, like Krishna Prabhu was saying before, through the 80s, up until like the early 90s, there was a lot of confusion and conflict in ISKCON, where I grew up. And I'd reached a point where I was like kind of trying to tell myself that I was over it. I'm like, I'm sick of all of this stuff. And then I found the poster on the wall on the Gold Coast. I went with Rajamohan Prabhu to pick up his surfboard from Kira Surf. And I'm waiting outside going, when's he going to finish? And then I saw this poster and I was like, the Divine Servitor. What's this? And I actually stole the poster off the wall, rolled it up, put it in my jacket. And then Rajamohan came out and we left. And look what I found on the wall, And that was a couple of days before that June 6th. And I came with my wife at the time, Krishna Prema, and we walked in and I saw everyone after Nadi Krishna Prabhu had handed me that picture, and I was like, it was like a complete reawakening of everything. All confusion seemed to just sort of like go on hold. Everything was so beautiful in here, and the feeling was like, it was like when I was a small boy and I remember walking into the room in the ISKCON temple in Auckland and seeing Srila Prabhupada in the back of the huge room full of devotees. It was the same sort of thing, huge room, seemed a lot bigger then than this room, but packed full of devotees, you know. And I looked over and I saw Srila Gurudev sitting there with Sagar Maharaj next to him, right where you're sitting, and I was just blown away, you know, like my heart completely opened up again. And then I sat down back here and I was trying to be really nondescript and just sort of watch what was going on, and then somehow or other, after Gurudev had been speaking for quite some time, Kirtan started and more people came in, and then somebody handed me a mridanga drum. I think it was Tare Krishna Prabhu, and I started to play it. It was the first time I'd played a mridanga drum in many, many years, and then everybody stood up and the room got even more crowded, and Gurudev was beaming. He kept looking back at me like a couple of times. Maybe it was just my mind telling me, but it was like he was looking right at me, like smiling at me, like he was so happy. And then Sagar Maharaj left his side and walked through the crowd and came and grabbed me by the elbow and dragged me through the crowd and stood me right next to Gurudev, and I was shaking completely, kind of freaking out, you know. And but then that kirtan went on and on and on, and Gurudev sang and jumped and up and down, and it was so beautiful. And it got so crowded in the room, every time I moved my arm, I was hitting Gurudev in the side of his body. And he kept looking around at me and smiling, and you know, we kept trying to make room. Yeah, it was the most beautiful experience. And Sagar Maharaj, actually, I credit him eternally for taking me by the arm and leading me direct into physical contact with Gurudev. And he was like a close associate of my family as we were growing up, but when I came into the room, I didn't recognize him at all. He had a big turban on and beard, and he looked really intense, you know. And then later on, when he realized who I was and I realized who he was, it was like, oh my God, you know. It was like this amazing sort of family connection, especially walking in and seeing Jamuna and all these people that I'd known through my life growing up. You know, it was a really sweet and just a really heartfelt connection directly to Gurudev, really. You know, there was no question of needing to be convinced of anything. From that moment, I was, okay, I've left ISKCON, I'm not a part of that organization anymore. And you know, and then that was the beginning of the second part of my devotional life, I guess. You know, and all glories to Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami. I always had a great affection for the Red Cross Org from that point, you know.
When we had the programs here, everyone would bring prasadam, you know. Everyone would bring a pot, different something. It'd be organised so that, you know, 5 pots of rice didn't turn up, but it'd be organised so everyone would bring something, and different people, especially Madhura Krishna Prabhu, Radhamadhava Prabhu, would decorate everything very beautifully, like a forest it'd be in here. Nice altar, mats, everything. Nice prasadam. The kirtan was very nice. And at that time, there were, as Devananda Prabhu was saying, there's a lot of disturbance in ISKCON, and there were a lot of people floating around wondering, and sometimes it would be like devotees, ISKCON devotees, outside listening to the kirtan, enthralled by the kirtan, you know, of the followers of Srila Guru Maharaj here, you know. It was very ecstatic. Very, very ecstatic, actually. You know, the kirtan was so nice, and the prasadam was always nice, and everything was very wonderful under the guidance of Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj. to Red Cross Hall. But apparently it's, another phase of history is finishing, and a new phase is starting for the devotees here in this part of the world.
I remember one other small detail of that first night here after going. I left home and I stayed as late as I could, I remember, that night. And I got home and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I called up Mum and Dad and I'm like, Mum, I just met the most amazing guru from Navadvip. He's from Sri Chaitanya Saraswati. And they were like, oh, no. It's Srila Prabhupada all the way. It's ISKCON is the real deal. In line with that confusion that was going on. And I was like, okay, well, I had a really great experience. I'm going to go again next week on the Sunday, and they're like, well, not so enthusiastic. And then a couple of days went by. I think it was that Friday just before the weekend when the program was going to start, and Dad calls me up. He said, guess what? I just took Harinam initiation. My new name is Hari Mohan, and your mum's name is Sumanasi. And we went Sangha Maharaj, and you remember Koyananda Swami from ISKCON. I was like, yeah, that's that guy with the turban. It was such a complete backflip. They were like, no, ISKCON all the way, and then 5 days later, they were like already taking Harinam and completely connected, and it was like, it was my good fortune to have actually informed them that something was going on, and then they jumped on it a lot quicker than I did. It took me 1 year. I took Harinam the next year, but I was convinced though. Once they jumped on board like that, I was like, okay, I'm not making a mistake. It's got mother and father's sanction, so that was really cool.
Even Krishna Mohini has a story about coming here and how she walked down, she lived above the police station, and how she didn't want to go out because she had some kind of rash, and she was really nervous, but she knew to come, and how she wrote the whole story to me last year, and just how important the Red Cross Hall was for even to bring her and Kamala, and they walked here. I'm getting goosebumps about it. And they got to meet Gurudev. Maybe you know something about that. I don't know, but it was really so many people got to experience the mercy, the charm, the love, the beauty of our Gurudev here in the hall. It's hugely special.
Gurudev brought a very strong energy to this place when he first came. It was a palpable thing. Like Krishna Balaram was saying, the park was full of devotees. Not everyone was coming inside, but everyone was very interested in what was happening. Jamuna was here.
Gurudev was a lot younger. He was with Dave Nanda talking about the kirtan. I mean, that was just, when Dave Nanda walked through that door, the last time I had seen him, I think he was probably 6 years old. And then Sagar Maharaj passed him at Madanga, and you could tell he was just absolutely loving the situation. He was just gone. And I just remember the kirtan. The kirtan probably went on for an hour.
Felt like so long.
Yeah, it was just an
My hand was
incredible
bleeding.
kirtan. And Gurudev was jumping up and down, and not really jumping, but very vibrant and happy.
Very animated.
Yeah, no, it was the Red Cross Hall does mean a lot to the very, beginning of Australia. That's where it all started. But I really, you know, that one with Dave getting in the Dangara and starting the kirtan with Saga Maharaj was something that I'll always remember. He was really, really, you know, he was really happy. Well, everybody was really happy, but he was just showed so much affection to everybody, and everybody could just, we all just went with the flow of Gurudev, and it just swept us all off our feet, and it was 25 years ago. Incredible, really. That's how we did it. Everybody just got the order. You make this, you make that, or
pretty sharp. Yeah, for sure.
Gurudev said that, you know, the people of Australia are practicing humility, tolerance and giving honour to others without wanting for themselves. And he wasn't talking about the devotees, he's talking about the general people. Because, you know, he'd go drive in the car and, you know, someone would stop and let the car go, you know. Now, that's just the rule, you know, here in Australia, you know, you have to give way to the right, you know. So, you know, so if you're driving along, the car comes, they stop, and Srila Gurudev's like, wow, you know, this is amazing. And also, walking down the street, people that's, you know, he'd be walking down, or the devotees walking down the road, you know, he's obviously, you know, the devotees with their dhotis and tilak and everything, and, you know, people would say, good morning, you know. and he'd think, wow, this is amazing, you know, they're giving honour, you know, they're saying good morning, you know, and everything was very lush and green, and, you know, at that time, June, you know, it's like, especially back then 25 years ago, it's a little different now, but the weather was perfect, the sky was blue, the winter time was like sunshine every day, perfect temperature, cool in the evening, you know, and everything was green and lush, and there's, you know, we've got the environment like here in Tweed Valley is, you know, very nice. So he thought, you know, yes, this is Vrindavan, you know. Everyone's giving honour, everyone's so humble.
And there's cow pasture everywhere, and we walked along the road, there's always cows.
Yeah.
Both sides.
So, you know, he was very happy, and the devotees were very happy. It was very ecstatic.
Yeah, I was amazed that there was women truck drivers.
Yeah.
He thought that was amazing. Never seen that.
Do you
And
remember
waving.
when?
The truck drivers would wave.
Do you remember when they first came out through customs? The Mohan came out first, and he said he's telling them everything. I wanted to get this bag out quickly, and Maharaj is back in customs, nicely explaining everything to them. And Mohan was like, oh my gosh, I had to tell him, you know, you don't need to tell him everything, Maharaj.
Was he easy to understand him?
He was always easy to understand.
Yeah, he was quite broken. His English was quite broken because he kept
He didn't really.
apologising but we could still understand him.
He didn't understand the dialects, the different parts of, you know, maybe mine from New Zealand, Australia. We were all speaking English, and then an Englishman had come in and he spoke the same language, but every sound was a little bit different.
But it's
If he was-
the language of the heart, you know, which is the main.
If he was searching for a word, Saga Maharaj had supplied it.
People read that, responded also.
Saga Maharaj was
Yeah,
huge help.
Sripad Sagar Maharaj was translating for him quite a bit too. Not everything, but he would always consult with him. What is the word here that I mean?
And Gurudev's first Vyasa Puja was in Australia. And he, I always remember a birthday cake came brought up to his Vyasa Sada at the temple. And I thought this is going to be interesting because generally we don't blow out candles or flames. So I'm wondering how Srila Gurudev is going to blow out. It was like 100 candles on there. And,
64, I think.
at the time, 64. And it was a very hot day, coming into summer around now. And he's fanning himself. And then when the cake came up, he just went like that. And the hell went out.
It was perfect.
And then when Acharya Maharaj came to Australia in 2009, end of 2009, he spoke here. It's nice. And Ashram Maharaj. And then also when Srila Gurudev came, also Janata Maharaj came.
That's true.
He wanted to, Janata Maharaj I think was slightly upset that Srila Gurudev came to Australia first and not to America first. So he came over here so he could take him back to America.
And he had tickets.
Yeah. So, they were both here. Srila Gurudev was here, Janata Maharaj and Sagar Maharaj here. So, and now we're very lucky we have...
Did that happen the first trip or when the...
First trip, the first time.
Because nobody in the world believed that it was going to happen.
Right.
And it was only when Gurudev was on the plane and arriving in Australia that the rest of the world woke up that it actually was on.
Yeah.
How much later was it Janata Maharaj arrived?
Within days.
Yeah, because he stayed at your
He just
place.
came virtually, just must have jumped on a plane.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. It was very nice that at Parananda's house, Parananda erected this big pandal, and we had kitchen there and everything was going on, straw, and it was a festival every day, every morning, every night. Gurudev was giving darshan, program was going on in the pandal, devotees were cooking prasadam. It was fantastic. Yeah, and yes, that was the famous kirtan in Maharaj's house when the house lifted off and all of that. And after the kirtan, Maharaj stood up on the bench, the kitchen bench, and said, "Maharaj, can we do that again? We've got to move the house about 4 inches back to the left." I think that maybe that might have been the next year, maybe. And also, Srila Gurudev was telling stories, very funny stories. And, and, myself, I nearly died, from laughing because I laughed so much, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't breathe. Thinking, Srila Gurudev, stop, He could have just, and he's watching, he's seeing, yes, he's about to die, he's about, so he'd stop, allow them to catch their breath, and then again, it was amazing, incredible, and completely transcendental. It's completely transcendental, but ecstatically funny, like so funny. It was just great. And so loving, Gurudev, so loving. The personification of love. As Maharaj was saying before, that he doesn't have to actually say anything. He is it, and it is emanating from him. As the devotees were saying, I think Manasa was saying, Gurudev's Vyasa Puja Day the other day, that Mahaprabhu, when he came, he was the personification of love, and he was erupting. He was a volcano of love, erupting, explosions, But Gurudev, he came, and he was also a personification of love, but he was just oozing love. It just oozed out of him. And everybody felt that, Very ecstatic, yes. And now we're fortunate we have Chagi Maharaj here in the Red Cross Hall for the finale, probably the last time some transcendental meeting will take place here. We're very fortunate, Maharaj. It's very ecstatic to have your association, Maharaj.
Tomorrow they start renovation on this building, and it will become a food bank. So the whole place will change. New era.
What's a food bank?
These are the same curtains that we hear when Gurudev was singing. The picture of the Queen was there. I remember.
The Queen was overseeing everything, yes.
I remember Sagar Maharaj explaining to Gurudev, Queen of England.
I remember one time some curtains caught fire here. We were setting up the program, we had some candles on the altar, and somehow, I don't know what happened. Remember Sanatan Prabhu? He come running over to me and said, "Oh, there's a fire, and he was completely like, he's just, he couldn't do anything, he was shaking, he couldn't. So I came in and there was this curtains were on fire. My God, we're going to burn the Red Cross Hall down. So it's not going to look good for the mission. But anyway, somehow, we put it out. Many ecstatic pastimes happened here. So,
when Srila Maharaj came here, if anyone was here, he really brought this incredible mood of Gurudev, right to the room. He was very grand, and just the gentleman-like qualities that he showed, and the way that he told stories, personal stories of Gurudev. He had us all laughing as well. But I just remember his mood in particular, and what he shared that time was. I feel like there's really a part of Gurudev that I can see in Srila Maharaj that is really palatable, and it was really special to be in this room because he really had a lot of presence here, and he shared a lot here.
He conveys Gurudev's humor.
He does the humor. Something about how he was, trying to tell Gurudev a story, and it was really important to him, and he really needed to be acknowledged, and he needed to have some advice, and then Gurudev would go like this with the newspaper, and then look over around the newspaper. It was just really fun. How did you know to come? I know that Parnanda and Jamuna and Balabhadra, Nadi, Mohanananda, there was a group of people with Sagar Maharaj. But how did Brajabalaba and Madhura Krishna, how did you know that Gurudev was going to be here, or how?
Because Madhura Krishna got together with Sagar Maharaj at our house when he was staying there, and they were talking about how to bring him over, how to do it, when would we do it, etc., etc.
Okay.
And it started from there. And Madhura, I think, suggested, said, I know this fellow in Sydney, or something like that. Madhura?
said, I know someone who can do it.
Yeah.
Second Maharaj, he came to stay with my mum
Yeah.
after your
We
place.
drove
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
here.
And they talked for, of course, his wife was over in Japan, so they used to talk a lot.
Yeah.
I just remember Sagar Maharaj, he had one room up the back of the house, and he walked, the door was walled. It was so hot inside that room that the door, you couldn't close the door up.
Have the door read.
Yeah, because he loved the heat. He used to leave the heater on all
loves the
the
heat.
time to get the heat.
Yeah, yeah, he walked the door.
Yeah. So from there, Gurudev came, this organisation took place, and things kept just rolled on from there, really. Yeah.
Mohanananda made a note to Facebook saying that he wishes he was here, but he's in Japan, and he wanted to convey his heartfelt gratefulness for the program. And then he has the same name as Gurudev, I mean, the same last name. How is that even possible?
It's a little bit
Mohanananda has the same last name as Gurudev. Something's very similar.
Govinda Sami, yeah.
Yeah. To Mohanananda, he lived in Nardwik for about a year with Kyoto, didn't he?
6 months.
6 months and the children, and it was after that that's when Gurudev was got to know him. Was that when it all happened?
It
Or was
was,
it after?
it was after the
It
tours.
was after.
Yeah, Gurudev didn't know Mohanananda before being introduced.
Maybe a
Yeah,
little bit.
before.
Maybe a little, he was over in the night before.
no, he was there in Guru Maharaj's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much he was in touch with Gurudev.
All right, well, shall we conclude with some kirtan?
Yes, Maharaj.
Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Shri Red Cross Hall ki.
And play
Result of